born to a fisherman and his mistress along the gray slate cliff faces of Ayr. Aden Valmin was destined to have authority over much in his life. It was in his very early years that he identified his unusual talent. Aden was, once again, fishing with his father from the cliffs on a bright orange sunlit morning. The intimidating, substantial turquoise waves pounded the edge of the landmass and shot cold white foam and spray into the air. Aden had always hated fishing. He felt a dull groan in the pit of his stomach each morning when he knew he would have to hear the angry voices again. Ever since he was born, Aden had been able to hear the thoughts of nearby animals. It was not only sea creatures, but also birds and mammals of all descriptions. He could feel empathy with their emotions and a direct understanding of their thoughts. The fish that were killed by the sonic charges that Aden and his father, Aden, were using had fleeting thoughts of wild anger as they departed. He had said nothing to anyone about his ability because he was afraid and unsure. Aden Valmin had recently celebrated his 7th birthday and his gift was growing stronger. He could barely bring himself to face the day's fishing expedition. Aden Valmin tied back his long, dark red hair with a thick leather thong. He was proud that he had passed this trait on to his son.
Aden, today you are going to throw a S charge.
Aden was mortified. He knew that this day would eventually come.
Did it have to be today?
Usually, Aden would just keep watch for his father as he operated the winch that lowered the metallic cabled net, and then stood well back as Aden threw the sonic devices into the water.
Of course you will.
I can't do it, Father. Please forgive me.
Do it now.
Roared Aden, his furious green eyes an unmistakable shape. As he lost control of his temper and struck Aden with the back of his knuckles across the cheek. Aden's father was immediately genuinely sorry. He took a step back and lowered his hands. Aden was bruised across the left-hand side of his face, but had somehow remained on his feet. The gentle chirping of the local crickets had ceased when Aden was struck. Also, the sounds of the numerous native gulls and ospreys could no longer be heard. At the same time, Aden was overcome with a feeling of peace and security. In the distance seemed to be a gathering cloud of reasonably large flying creatures silhouetted against the sunrise. Aden saw this and instinctively reached for his son to haul him away to the relative safety of their cliff house tunnel. Aden was almost overawed by the united voice of creatures that were communicating with him telepathically. A herd of native bulls stampeded into clear view.
Let me go, Father.
Aden released his grip on Aden's protective overalls and took a few steps back. Apart from the group of rampaging black bovine, there was an arguably even more impressive sight coming up from the cliff face. A massive native decapus was climbing the cliff. Aden ran as fast as he could, but was like a small morsel of food to this monster of the sea. It curled its tentacle like a spiraling lightning bolt around the middle-aged man's leg and whipped him rapidly, smashing his head and body on the jagged gray and black stones of the cliff. Aden knew a sense of power he had never before experienced. He was not been challenged in a serious way until his 17th birthday. That was the day he decided to again allow himself to have human contact. Freedom. Terrible freedom. Jen was being involuntarily whisked around the atmosphere. He would ascend to the stratosphere, then spiral downward until he reached the sea or land beneath. During that time, he impacted seriously with a long, fortified Utopium suspension bridge. Aden was gesturing wildly and chanting in his deepest level of concentration. He rushed forward and merged intelligence and form with Aden in a spectacular display. Its proportions increased from 1.5 times the height of an average man to a size where the bull could see over a 5-story structure. Multiple strikes with the drilling lance did not penetrate the aura. Aden began chanting loudly and raising his right hand up and down above the shoulder. Aden and his colossal legion of creatures set off across the sea to Marania.